Hello. Some of you might know already that I have been in the hospital for 2 years now, and I'm taking therapy for tuberculosis. It is a hospital in San Antonio, which is a city in Texas. But some of you were wondering that how I ended up being in a hospital and why I'm still here. So I wanted to share a little bit about it. To begin with, I have a history of tuberculosis from India. When I was 19-year-old college student, it was in 2011 that I first got sick. It was just a few months later of my starting my engineering college that it happened. I started having a very bad cough and chest pain. So I came back to my hometown and we started the therapy. That doctor was the best in his field, and if you have watched my previous video, I define various terms of how TB is treated. So he started me on the basic treatment, which is for generally 9 months, but still I was not feeling better. So he extended it to 1 year, but still I was not feeling better, and he said it's not TB anymore, it's just cough, some kind of cough infection. And so I ended up having many antibiotics for that, and this continued for on and off for 6 years basically, and I have taken multiple rounds of antibiotics and x-rays. So I was very much done with it, and 2017 and 18, very strangely, I did not have cough a single time. It was very, very surprising to me. In 2017 fall, which is around August time, that's when I came here to the US to start my master's program here at University of Houston, which is a university in a city called Houston in the Texas state. So I came here, and moving forward in 2019, it was March of 2019 that all of a sudden I started having cough again. And this time I did not think that it could be TB because when I was younger, when I was in college, I did not give much thought about TB, and at that time I didn't even know what TB was. I just took medicines whenever I needed to. So when in March of 2019 I got sick, I just thought it is some cough which I got because I ate something bad, and I didn't want to go to the doctor because I didn't want to go through the x-rays and all that again. So I did a mistake. I should have gone to the doctor sooner, but I finally went to the doctor when I started having chest pain. I had in the same area where I had when I was in India, and that's when I thought, oh no, what if it's TB? And when I went to the doctor, I told her my history. One good thing which I did was I brought with me all my medical records from India and the prescriptions and the x-rays. So the doctor I went to at University Health Clinic, she was very, very nice, and I told her my story from India, and immediately she said, I think it's multi-drug resistant TB. And at that time I had no idea what it meant. So she then informed the city health department about my case, because over there is a rule that if you have a suspect case of infectious disease, then you have to inform the city health department about it, because they take over it as it's about public safety. So the city health department people came to my house for 3 days to take my samples, and on the third day I got a call saying that it's confirmed you have multi-drug resistant TB, and I was told that this was my last chance of treatment. I would have to go to San Antonio because no one in Houston was going to treat me because my strain was a higher version type, and that involved a lot of side effects, and they said all the experts for this are in San Antonio, so you will have to go to San Antonio. They didn't force me, but they were convincing me to do that because they thought that it was the right decision which I should make at that point. But that was March of 2019. It was middle of my spring semester, and at that time I was just left with one semester to graduate, and at that time I already had a full-time job offer in Houston. It was an oil and gas company. It was one of the biggest companies, and the package was very, very good. Everything was all set. All I needed was just to get married and just have a family. That's it. It was just perfect. But then when I got a call and when they were telling me about this, so everything came in front of my mind about my school, because I had still not finished that semester and I had never been to San Antonio before, so it was all very uncertain. But the right decision at that time was to go to San Antonio, and they told me that I would only have to be there for 3 to 4 weeks, and once they find out which drugs work on me, I could come back to Houston and continue my therapy from Houston. So I packed my stuff. I didn't know what to take along with me. I didn't know what to expect. I had never come to San Antonio. I had no idea about this place, about this hospital, what they would provide and what not. So I packed whatever you need to take in a hostel, and on April 9th we came here. So on coming here I found out that I was in contagious state. Contagious state meaning that when you have an infectious disease, you are at a certain time period where you can spread that infection to other people. So for me to not be contagious, they needed 3 back-to-back negative reports from my sample saying that I am not contagious anymore, but we didn't know how long that would take. So I was in the hospital and it was just taking it day by day, not knowing how long I would be here. So that happened, and contagious state meant that I was not allowed to go to the cafeteria, not allowed to sit in the TV room or stay longer in the hallways talking to other people. But when I was in my room, I didn't have to wear a mask. But whoever came into my room, that person obviously had to wear a mask. And so I continued my semester from the hospital. It was very difficult because at that time I really had very, very bad cough, and they were still figuring out what medicines work on me, because it was very important to know the drugs that work on me. And so for 1 month I couldn't start my therapy because we were waiting on the results, and I completed my semester. Then I also came to know from my doctor that I was basically resistant to all 4 of the medicines which I had taken in India. And the first line therapy, which was given to the common strain of people, the whole 4 drugs I was resistant to. So that is why I didn't get better, and my therapy which I received in India was not the correct therapy for my type of TB, and basically I was misdiagnosed by the Indian doctor, and that's why it was just a waste of therapy and medicines which I took. And we found out on coming here that the type of drug resistant which I have is a higher version. It is a midway between extremely drug resistant TB, so we call it pre-XDR TB, which is pre-extensively drug resistant TB, and it takes a longer time for therapy, and the drugs can have number of side effects. So that happened, and then it was not certain when I would go back to Houston, so I was still paying the rent where I was staying. Eventually, I got off the mask 6 months after of being here in the hospital. So 6 months is one of the longest periods anyone has been here on isolation in the hospital. Generally, it could take few days to 3 to 4 months depending on your strain. If you have drug-resistant TB, it could take a longer time period for you to not be contagious. But in my case, it was longer than usual. But at that time, I was still here and my side effects started happening, so I wasn't sure if I could do the next semester. So I ended up taking break for the summer semester, and the fall semester I took sabbatical because we found out from my university, that they have an option where international students could take maximum 2 semesters off on sabbatical for medical grounds. And I took the fall semester, which was starting from August 2019. I took it sabbatical, and obviously I couldn't graduate on time, so I lost the job offer which I had. And next semester, spring 2020, still I couldn't join because I had a number of side effects. And then I got another summer break, and then the next fall semester 2020 I had to take up and enroll because I only had 2 semesters options, and that semester was very bad health-wise because I was having too many side effects, and which didn't allow me to focus on my studies. But thankfully, my university people, my professors were very, very helpful. My doctor, he was very helpful in providing the necessary documents to prove about my health condition, and they were very cooperative. So that happened, and then my friends were also helpful in my assignments, and eventually I graduated in December of 2020. The hospital people surprised me with a graduation ceremony. It was wonderful. And in January of this year, 2021, I stopped my TB therapy, meaning I stopped taking my chemotherapy of drugs which I was taking, which was a big thing because it meant that my side effects would start getting better once you stop taking the meds. And then, but we found out that due to long-term tuberculosis infection, I also have a damage in my lung, which is not common, but it can happen in some cases. So it happened in my case. And then I was still having some cough and some difficulty in through different symptoms. So they wanted to make sure that it is all clear before I go to Houston, that it is no more tuberculosis left, even though we finished the therapy. So right now they have been working on that. They are doing some tests to find out that whatever symptoms I'm having, they're not related to tuberculosis and basically related to the damage which I have got. That damage is a disorder which is called as bronchiectasis, and it could be there with me long term or my whole life, or it could get better. We shall see. But for now, they're working on to find out what's going on inside my lung, and so they are 100% certain no more tuberculosis, and then I can get back to Houston and get ready to find a job and get working. So that's about it in a nutshell.